So good morning and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I'm a gorilla in the wrist. Are you the sort of person who every time you have some spare moments jumps into your Land Rover, drives off into the mountainous wooded hillside and spends the next 2 days tromping around trying to find things? Are you unable to scrimp together the money to buy yourself that Casio Mudmaster at $800? Probably because your Land Rover is eating all your disposable income. Then if that's you, Casio have got you covered. Welcome to the review of the twin sensor Casio SGW100, the outdoorsy type's watch. So before we get into the detailed specifications, let's just do a quick run around this particular one. So this is quite an odd looking watch, an odd shape. In terms of dial size, at the sort of the widest point, you've got these bits that stick out here, a bit like Martin Clunes' ears. At that point, the watch case is 47mm across, but actually anywhere else is probably slightly smaller, sort of closer to 45, so sort of more consistent with G-Shock territory. However, it's not that thick actually, unlike a G-Shock where you could see it coming in anywhere between 14 and 15, 16, 17mm. This is actually only 12mm thick, so lays quite flat. The strap itself is a little bit odd, so it doesn't have normal lugs. It has these slightly strange, slightly bracketed arrangements on the side. And the strap itself is a sort of typical Casio effort, really. Integrated. I'm not sure whether this would necessarily go well on a different strap. I have seen it with canvas straps. Sorry, I'm frogging my throat. Obviously been out in the forests myself. Yeah, I'm not sure. I have seen these on canvas straps, but I think they are specifically made rather than just general ones. So it's a little bit unusual for that, but its real party trick is it has a compass and it does have a external thermometer. Let's just see if we can. Oh, there we go. So you'll note the oh no, it wants to be calibrated. I should have known that was going to happen. We'll come back to that in a minute. So yeah, this and in terms of lug to lug, it's a bit of a strange one. So it depends where you choose to measure it. It is quite flexible, and if you take it from the point where it starts here, it's not quite right though if you look at it that way. So the lug to lug is pretty big, probably 60mm effectively, but from there to there is about 52, 53. So not terrible, and because of its thickness or lack of thickness, it lays fairly flat to the wrist. Let's just pop it on so you can have a look. So it actually wears really well. And fellow gorillas, please note, spare holes at the end. That doesn't happen very often, does it? So a really good, decent size watch. Let's get into the specifications. So the specification on this watch, we have a 46mm dial width. The lug to lug depends where you take it from really, but I've got it at 55. Lug width is 22mm. It's 12mm thick. It has the Casio 3157 movement in it. Weighs in at a very light 55 grams. Has 200 meters of water resistance and a claimed mineral crystal, though I'm not convinced. So let's talk about three of the things that I'm not sure about with this watch. So the first one is that I actually like the looks of it, but I do entirely accept that this is very much a Marmite watch. You will either like it or you really won't. So I think that's something worth being aware of. The second point is that I'm not convinced about the accuracy of the temperature gauge or compass. So if you are one of these people off yomping in the woods, please make sure you've got a proper compass with you. The temperature gauge always looks slightly higher than it is as well. And to be honest, if you go out into the woods without decent gear, you're probably going to get lost. So be careful out there, folks. And then the final one is that actually this is claimed to be a mineral crystal. Now my preference with watches is normally either a sapphire crystal so that it doesn't get scratched, or an acrylic crystal so if you do scratch it, and I will scratch it, you do have the ability then to just apply a little bit of Polywatch to get it back to a decent condition. So if this is mineral crystal, although it's pretty well protected, along with most sort of G-Shocks, you'd have to go some to scratch it properly. So maybe that's a little bit of an unfair criticism. In terms of the things I like about it, the first is that actually it does wear well given the size. So you kind of expect this sort of watch to look really bulky, and it really doesn't. It's some form of witchcraft, but I suspect it's predominantly to do with just the thickness. Really makes it lay particularly flat. I would be curious to know from anybody who has smaller wrists than me and has one of these watches, how it wears on them, because I find the lug to lug sort of makes me suspect that maybe it wears a little bit wide. But for me, definitely not a problem. It's incredibly legible. I mean, really, really very easy to see from all angles, even in this light box that I'm filming in, which is great. I don't have to squint, and unlike the GA2100, I can actually read this. The next bit is that actually it has some pretty decent functionality. So this watch only costs about £50, sort of $65, which is pretty good. It comes with the sort of functionality that you would normally expect. So it does come with dual time. It comes with a stopwatch. It comes with a timer. It comes with 5 alarms. Not sure why anybody needs 5 alarms, but hey. Maybe one of them's for the bears when you're out in the woods. And it does have this temperature. Let me just do it. It does have a sort of temperature. It's never 28 degrees in here, so that can't be right. It does have temperature and a compass. Whatever you do, don't rely on those. So the functionality is really, really good. The other thing about this is that it's astonishingly accurate. So I got this one in a job lot from eBay. And my wife has an eBay shop where she sells them, and I'd seen this. I'd come across this model before and thought, I really fancy one of those. And the downside of this one is that the light doesn't work, so there's no lume shot, as you would have noticed. So I said we can't possibly sell it, it's not fully functioning, and kept it for myself. But this watch loses about 10 seconds a year. I know it's not supposed to, and that's well within the tolerances set for the watch. But I set this just before my birthday at the end of November. And since then, I set it to the 2nd. And since then, it has lost, 7 seconds in about 9 months, which is just amazing. So yeah, very, very, very accurate. And then the final one, I think, really is the price. So sort of mentioned, if you're looking for a Mudmaster, Casio Mudmaster, which are fantastic, absolutely fantastic watches, but at $800, you're really a really, really expensive watch. These coming in at 50 quid, sort of $65, are an absolute bargain. As I say, they're as robust as they come, really. So yeah, I think the price is an absolutely an absolute bargain, if I'm honest. And you know how much I love a bargain. So I'm going to have a go at summing this one up. So for me, I think if you're an outdoors type person, I think this is an excellent option. I think at 50 quid, it's a brilliant price. Specifications are absolutely fantastic. 200 meters water resistance, remarkably accurate, and for a big watch wears really well. So got a huge amount going for it. For me, it's just a beta watch. This is what I sling on my wrist when I'm out in the garden. I don't have to worry about dropping it into one of the rainwater butts that I have in the garden because it's 200 meters water resistance. I don't have to worry about dropping it because it has that whole Casio strap bouncy thing going on. So this is, again, I don't tend to throw my watches across the garden, but if I did, I would be fairly comfortable doing it with this one. As I say, great price, and I like the looks. They won't be for everybody, but I do, and their legibility just is fantastic. So for me, I think definitely worth consideration, even for just pottering around in the garden. So that's it for today. Lots more good stuff. I've got 6 watches on order from the AliExpress June summer sale. So expect to see some more unboxings, some great stuff coming. Have a fantastic rest of the weekend. To the fathers out there, it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. And hopefully see you back very, very soon. Take care, everyone.